Today we are going to be looking at the cheapest intake you can get for the SVT Focus. This brand of intake is also made for a lot of other cars, so we're going to unbox it, we're going to take a look at the quality. So even if you're not looking for an intake for the SVT Focus and you're just looking for a cheap intake, this will probably get you a pretty good idea of what to expect with the quality of the intake. The brand in the box is called CPT, Click Point Tuning, and so that's what we're going to check out. My guess is just some cheap Chinese AEM intake knockoff. For the people that are subscribed for the Spec V stuff, they do make an intake for the Spec V as well. So the cost of this intake is going to be less than $100. But if you decide to upgrade it to a K&N filter, you're still only looking like $130 for this intake. Compare that to the equivalent AEM. The AEM intakes are like $450 to like $500. Before we install it, let's open the box and see what we got to work with here. All right, so we got the box here. There it is. Okay, this looks like it's the filter. That's the filter. To be honest, it looks kind of cheap. Smells like China. I don't think there's any oil on this either. And they say it's a washable filter. I can actually see through this filter. That is crazy. I can see you. I don't know how long this hose is gonna last. It's like silicone, rubber. I don't know, I don't know what it's out of. Got some really basic clamps, nothing special at all. I guess I could upgrade these, or actually I got some spare clamps I could use. Coupling just feels kind of cheap. I don't know. Like there's little pieces missing out of it actually. Probably can't see it. A little rubber bushing thing, bolt thingy. Not sure where this is going to go yet. I don't know, I'm going to give this hardware like maybe a 2 out of 5. The hardware is easily replaceable, so that's not a deal breaker for me on this. This hardware would not stop me from buying it. I'm not sure how long it's going to last by the way it looks and feels, but you can always upgrade it or change it. They actually give you instructions. That's kind of neat. I'm going to save that. I might actually read that. There's the first pipe. This is the one going on the bottom side. This is actually, I think this goes on the bottom side. Yeah, it should. This is a lot thicker, I mean, not thicker this way, but like diameter-wise, than what I really thought it was going to be. Everything looks okay. I mean, let's get an up close look. A little bit of missing paint there. But yeah, this looks like it's going to be fine. There's no reason why this isn't going to work. This might be a 3-inch pipe. This is a 2.5-inch. It might be 2 3/4 actually. Here it is. This one's a 2.5, that, I don't know. Okay, so this is the pipe that connects to the intake side. That goes onto the throttle body. There's your MAF housing there. Don't see any slag or anything that would be worrisome of parts falling out. They did miss a little bit of paint right there. Paint quality, I mean there's some maybe slight scratches, maybe that's just dirt, I don't know. I think it looks good. There is a little imperfection there. But this is all stuff you're never going to notice. I mean, look at any intake, even like a $500 intake after a few years, and you see it in the car, it doesn't look nice, shiny, and new. Oh, wow, Okay. So it's actually two different sizes. This is smaller. So what I'm really curious to know is what is the factory MAF housing sizing of the tube? Because if you put a smaller pipe and use the same MAF sensor, it's not going to read correctly. I don't know, this is still bigger than 2.5, so maybe this is like, I don't know what size. I could measure it, but it's not that big of a deal. So now I want to see is the coupling the same size on both sides? Okay, so the coupling is definitely smaller on one side, bigger on the other side. Let's go ahead and get this on the car. And actually, let's throw some oil on here. You know, this is just a metal screen. There's like no fabric in there, it's just a metal screen. I don't think I like that, so I can't even oil this thing. I don't think we should be using this. I really don't. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna have to take off the stock air box. Mine's pretty easy because half the shit's missing. So we're gonna disconnect the MAF sensor and we're gonna unscrew this. Okay, and then there we go. That was hard. Now I gotta unscrew this. I don't have that bit, I don't think. I'm gonna have to go buy that bit. That's gonna suck. Okay, so I'm gonna put the couplings on first on this pipe. So this is gonna squeeze through a bunch of wires, so it looks like I gotta move some stuff around. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this side. Dang it, I gotta jack up the car, I think. All right, so I got the coupling on this side. I got the filter on. Keep in mind, one of these bands is just slightly bigger than the rest. That's the one for your filter. I can't find my K&N filter for whatever reason, so we're gonna run with this until I can order a K&N filter. I don't drive the car that much, so it'll probably be okay. So it does look like I am gonna have to jack up the car because I am too fat to fit underneath there, being lowered. This little lip here, I don't know what that is for, really. I'm guessing that's because that's where the factory airbox normally would go. But this is a great place to put your tools and it won't roll away. All right, I got the car jacked up. Always use a jack stand or build a piece of wood thing like I did. Actually, I didn't build those. Someone else built them and I got them for free. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna go underneath and see what we gotta do to connect this on and then figure out these brackets and stuff and the hose. All right, underneath the car, the pipe coming down is right here. And yeah, it's really far up there, so I don't see any way to really tighten it from down here easily anyway. I think the easiest thing to do is going to be removing this battery box, even though I might be able to get to that coupler down there without it. But the instructions did say to remove the battery box, so I guess we'll follow what the instruction says for a change. We got 1 bolt here and 2 bolts down there. Don't know what size they are. Okay, so it was a 13, so I wasn't even close. That one's loose. That one came loose. While we're in here, there's supposed to be like a battery hold down thing in here. It's non-existent. I got a new one, so we're gonna put that in when we put everything back together. Look at how much more room we got. That is amazing. Look at all that. One thing I'm not a big fan of is how close it is to this piece right here. I definitely have to put some kind of foam or something in between there. So the intake came with this like little rubber piece with like a slit in there. I'm assuming that's for that. It could potentially rub. It is really close. It is probably an 1/8 of an inch away from that metal piece. Assuming that's what this is for, I didn't fully read the instructions, that's where we're gonna put it. This probably would have been easier if I did this before I installed the intake. Note to self, read instructions. I think that'll work, but in order to prevent this from sliding off, I think I want to put zip ties on both ends. I don't know if I ever mentioned this, but I love zip ties. I don't know, I still feel like this might be an issue a couple years down the line. The first problem is this hose isn't the right size for this pipe. Yeah, that doesn't seem to be the right size. Oh, that sucks. I'm gonna go through my hose bin and see what I got. Okay, so I did my final adjustments to make sure this clears down here and barely clears there. So I kind of had to play with the pipes a little bit, slide them a little bit to get it where I need it to be. But it should be good now, I think. Hopefully, we'll find out. Now this hose doesn't fit on there, as like I showed earlier. So this hose doesn't fit on there. So I did find a heater hose. I think it was left over from one of my old cars. So I stuck on there. So now I just need to get an adapter to go from this size to this size. So we're gonna go run to the parts store, get that, and yeah. While I was in here, I just did a quick spray paint there and there. Did a real light sand, get some of the surface rust down. And then we're gonna clean up the battery box and then put the little clamp thingy in there. So this metal bracket thing was in the battery box. I just painted that. I just painted the bolts. I'm just gonna wipe down the battery box. This will work, I guess. And then the battery hold down thingy. Let's see if we can find it here. I got it. This is all upcoming videos, by the way. And this is the part I'm looking for. So what was worrying me is this says for GM models. But Amazon said it fits my car, so I don't know. Okay, so I don't know if it's gonna line up correct. I probably should have checked that. But it didn't come with the bottom piece. So I had to take a scrap, I don't know what these clips are called, but I had to take one of those, but it doesn't fit in here. So I just lined it up and I put some super glue on the edge to help hold it. But realistically, I probably don't even need the super glue because as long as you don't unscrew it all the way off, this will only turn so far before it hits the sides. We're gonna let that dry, and then now I can finally go to the parts store. Yay. Actually, before we go to the parts store, let's fix this phone holder situation. So since I got the super glue out, I'm just gonna super glue the back of this to that. All right, done. Let's see if it's still on there when we get back. Okay, so what it looks like is this is a 3/4 inch nipple on there. And the hose they give you is 5/8, and 5/8 is what lines up on there. So the easy fix is getting a piece of 3/4 inch hose, piece of 5/8 inch hose, and going to the auto parts store and getting a 5/8 to 3/4 adapter, which is like probably another $5, $6. I didn't even look at the price. I don't want to know. So when you're getting this intake, keep that in mind. You'll need to buy one of these. That said, even with this stuff and the troubles of this, and the fact that I'm going to have to replace these couplings down the line to put something better, and replace the intake filter to put something better, I still feel this kit is a really good value for the price. I mean, you get all the piping you need for it. I mean, I guess if you had capabilities to mandrel bend your own piping, yeah, probably not a good value, but just to get the piping alone, I think it is worth the $90, $95 that this thing costs. And so if you compare it to an AEM intake for this car, you're looking at like $450. So even though we gotta spend probably an extra $50 to $100 in parts, let's say 100, you're still under $200 for a complete intake, cold air. So you're saving like $250 by doing this way. And yeah, the quality is not as good, but it's gonna do what it needs to do, and that's what matters, right? Good thing is this hose really isn't that critical because it's before the MAF sensor. So you can get these at Harbor Freight. It's an assortment of hose clamps. They're really good to have around. I do recommend when you put in hose clamps, think about accessing it when everything's reassembled and putting it back into place. That way you can do adjustments without taking everything apart again. But I'm not going to listen to my own advice. This is the last hose clamp. Oh no! All my hose clamps just fell. Good thing there's only like 40 pieces in there. Oh, my hose clamps. It's not the first time or last time this has happened. All right, I am going to go get the battery box and we'll get that in. Okay, battery box set in place. We just got to put the bolts on. Paint's not 100% dry, but it should be close enough. Battery can go back in. Maybe. So this hold down doesn't quite reach. So we still don't have a hold down, I guess. I gotta angle it, and that'll help hold it, at least keep it safe. All right, this is what it looks like from the underside. It does sit really low. I kind of wish it sat up more in there. There's plenty of space that could have been designed to do that. If the design was changed just slightly, you could actually put this on the top part and everything reach and work and bring this whole intake up. This could be modified because it sits below the actual bumper. The actual lip is what's kind of covering it. Later on, I'm going to take this off. I'll get some measurements and find out what kind of filter I need, because that's probably the first thing I need to do is change that filter out. And then we'll see how long the couplings last. So I guess the only thing left to do now is bring the car back in the ground and start it and see if it runs still and see what it sounds like. So let's do that. Moment of truth, will this car start? Hey, that's still holding on, that's cool. And neutral this time. Intake noise. You can hear it sucking in the corner. I don't know if it catches on camera. And my valve cover gasket still isn't leaking, so that's good. So, everything's good. Yay! Thank you for watching. Aloha. Peace out. Catch you on the next one.